Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Good afternoon, Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League fans, and to, well, not the season preview of this show, that was the last episode. We'll update this screen in just a moment. But yeah, this edition of the MMJHL podcast, as always for this season 3, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terrico, Movement Fitness and Performance, as well as goaltenders and elite prospects. This is season 3, episode 5. Quite a bit to get into in this episode. Can't wait to do so. We were broadcasting 2 games last night on the network, as it was a Thursday night doubleheader in the league. We'll get to highlights in just a moment here. But yeah, in terms of how the standings look, heading into Friday today, the St. Boniface Riels with a big win yesterday over the Stonewall Jets. Stonewall fell to 1-2 for the St. Vital Junior Victorias. First win of the season yesterday came against the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. And as for the Victorias, how they got it done, well, you know, it wasn't pretty at times, but able to come away with a huge victory last night against the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, as St. Vital was back at home for another Thursday nighter, same as how they opened the season last week against Fort Garry, where they ended up losing 2-1. But in terms of this matchup for St. Vital, well, they would start off with a bang, as first goal of the game, Ostorino wheels around, throws us to the front of the net, where rookie Tyler Free would put it in for his first goal of the season, first career MMJHL goal. Later on, as the Vics extended the lead to 3-0 on a power play, but shorthanded chance for the Raiders, as they're able to put it in the back of the net. Nice pass over to Logan Ash, as he would get the Raiders on the board. Into the second period of action now, as the Raiders ending up closing the gap against the St. Vital Junior Victorias, as we're actually into the third period here, and the Raiders would end up tying it up. And moments later, the Raiders would do this. Led by one of their more experienced players, by Aiden Anderson out there right now. Anderson and Saxberg lost the battle down low. Saxberg fresh out of the penalty box, just holding the line. Enerson gets spun there. Now high slot, Penner, somehow that gets through him, and the Raiders take the lead. Zach Enerson takes a hit to make a play, as I guess it was just left for number 8 and Cole Kennedy. But moments into the final moments of the period, as Tyler Free able to put this into the back of the net, it would be his hat-trick goal, as this one would be off to overtime, where both of these teams showed a lot of patience And the Victorias finally able to break through on this upcoming opportunity. They win the draw. Liam Saxberg sends a pass to a wide open Ben Dinez, who goes backhand, forehand, deking past number 30 in Braden Martell to give the Victorias their first win of the season, and a thriller in overtime for this Victorias side. And a Victorias team that I thought did a lot of good things right in their opening season loss against the Fort Garry Twins, a team that, well, their young guns are really making a difference so far. I mean, Tyler Free with a hat trick, Ben Dinez with the game-winning goal, and of course, this line was all over the offense, all over the scoreboard for the Victorias in this game, and that's huge given that, you know, this team kind of in a retool mode where they're kind of coming out of a championship window, where they, you know, were championship contenders, I'd say, on paper for the past 2 seasons. This year, a bit younger, but those young guns have been stepping up big time. And what I like about the Vicks victory, I don't like that they ended up blowing a 3-0 lead, essentially by the end of it, as the Raiders Junior Hockey Club ended up scoring 5 out of the 6 goals that ended up happening after the Vicks ended up going up 3-0 in that game. But what I liked from the Victorias was just, hey, don't panic. You know, we still have a chance to get back in this one. We're only down by 1 goal. Let's just clean things up a bit, get the pressure on the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, which we see there. Huge play by Tyler Free to find that loose puck in front of the net in the final minutes, under a minute left in that third period, and he would, of course, get it past Braden Martell, and, of course, a great feed, great vision from Liam Saxberg in overtime to find a wide-open Ben Dinez, who ended up being all alone, one-on-one with Martell, and ends up beating him with a beautiful move. As we take a look at how last week's opening week ended up going, those were the scores from last week, of course. These are the points leaders so far in the MMJHL, as Nathan Brzezinski continues to have a phenomenal start to his season. 6 points. He had another goal yesterday. I believe he's scored in every single game that St. Boniface has played so far. Peyton Bateman, of course, he's now at 3 goals, 1 assist. Taking a look at their matchup yesterday against the St. Boniface Riels, as Bateman ended up having a goal to get to that marker. 1 behind Brzezinski. Owen Larocque, he's been, well, it's like he never left from his form last season. 2-0 so far, a .960 save percentage, only 3 goals allowed in 2 games so far. These are the top 5 stats leaders for these categories. Reason why there's more player stats shown is because, well, we can see there quite a few players tied for second in points with Bateman with 4, as we can see there. If you want to check out the full stats, full schedule, be sure to check out mmjhl.ca. And yeah, as for this upcoming weekend of action, as for us on the network, we're going to have the Pembina Valley Twisters home opener tonight broadcasted on our network. At 8:30 p.m. will be the puck drop. They'll be welcoming in the Transcone Railer Express, as we'll also be broadcasting the Railer Express taking on the Victorias coming up on Sunday, as well as we'll have, I believe, I'll just take a look at our broadcast schedule here. As just want to confirm this, but we will have a doubleheader for sure coming up on Sunday afternoon here in the league, as it will be St. Boniface and Twisters, the Riels and Twisters, which will be featured as well, along with Transcona and St. Vital on our U-Screen service. But as for the Stonewall Jets and St. Boniface Riels, a game last night where, well, St. Boniface got off to a really hot start in the first period, scoring 3, and it would end up being on the game-winning goal with Bentley Brandt on the call.
Work that across, won't go.
Let's take a listen to
we'll
this.
Have down in the Riels. They'll work their way head ice as Rich walks in, fires, bar down, snipe. And it is 3-0 for the Real.
And the rookies eating well on Thursday night yesterday in the MMJHL, as it was Cashton Long's first goal as a regular on this year's St. Boniface Real squad, as he AP'd for them a bit last season. Didn't really get a chance to watch him much, but when we did get a chance to see him, that shot, it was evident that it had some power on it. No different yesterday, as, yeah, hopefully Cashton's thinking the first of many in what's a long season ahead. 42 games remain, of course, for the St. Boniface Reals. Other than the teams that played last night, about 43 remaining for them. So we're just getting started here in the 2025-2026 season. And yeah, it's been phenomenal to see the type of skill, the type of just gameplay that's been on display so far here to start things off in 2025-2026. We're going to send it to a commercial break now. And when we come back, we're going to, go through some power rankings. We'll also go through my thoughts on this upcoming weekend of action and other things to talk about coming up next on this edition of the MMJHL Podcast, Season 3, Episode 5, on this fun Friday on the G Show Productions YouTube channel. Stick around, everybody. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. And welcome back to this Friday edition of the MMJHL podcast. Been a busy few weeks here on the network as we're just programming all our stuff, getting our games out, getting the word out, we're going to try some different things coming up here too with our marketing, more in-person marketing coming up within games. So I got to start to familiarize people with who exactly we are as we're slowly but surely building here ourselves to start off this 2025-2026 season on our Uscreen service. And by the way, all games available to watch on our Uscreen service all season long on gshowproductions.uscreen.io. $7 per game will be the price to watch, which is a bit less than going to the arena, and plus some of this money is going back to the MMJHL too from your purchases. So not only do you support us, but you're supporting the MMJHL as well, and we thank everyone who has so far, and can't wait to see how many more people end up tuning into our coverage this year. Just taking a look at how week 2 in the league ends up starting. A thriller in St. Vital ends up being a very back and forth matchup, a bit of a barn burner. St. Boniface Real so strong to start off this season. All 4 teams will have the day off today, and then they'll all be back in action coming up, I believe, on Sunday. As we take a look, I think I might have missed a game here. No, there's only going to be 4 matchups played in the MMJHL coming up on this Sunday. As the 2 teams that'll get the day off, that's going to be the Stonewall Jets along with the St. James Junior Canucks. So once the Canucks play tonight, they'll have the rest of the weekend off. And as for the Stonewall Jets, a huge weekend off for them as they don't play, of course, today or on Sunday. They'll be back in action coming up next Thursday night against the St. James Junior Canucks. So in the upcoming week, as we go into the power rankings now. Brought to you by Movement Fitness and Performance for this season. And just to clarify, this was heading into this week, so this was before the games were even played yesterday. Wouldn't be surprised to see St. Boniface move up this list after this weekend, but of course, I feel like River East, out of the teams that started off in the first week, you take a look at how they were able to put together 2 victories, a team that is averaging quite a few shots right now. Special teams are rolling well, and a team that defended very well in their first 2 games of the season. Of course, they played against the Pembina Valley Twisters and the St. Vital Junior Victorias, who are at the bottom of this list, but they were both pretty commanding wins when we take a look at it. In terms of against the Pembina Valley Twisters, even though it was a 3-2 victory for the Royal Knights, they end up putting up 42 shots, only allowing 24. They, of course, battled a bit with the Twisters, but were able to come out with the win. I like the resiliency in the squad to start off this season through the first week of action, and of course against St. Vital, a team which was looking hungry to get back in the win column. River East, they get outshot in the first period, but then start to control things as the game goes along. And I spoke about this team heading into the season, about how, they have a lot of good returning players. They have solid continuity in net, even though Manny Manuka Jr. is gone now. But Urchioli, guys like that, players really stepping up for this team in terms of course, Kalen Reynolds coming back. Richardson had a goal against the St. Vital Junior Victorias. Urchioli had 2 in that matchup. But just for River East to start off the season this strong, thought that, their 2 wins to start off the season, even though St. Boniface takes down the Transcon Regular Express and the St. James Junior Victorias, felt that the Knights had just a better first week overall than St. Boniface. And then, of course, St. Boniface being one of the undefeated teams going into week 2, I think their play, just their speed, quickness, the skill that this team has, it was on display throughout the first 2 games. And, of course, they could very well be moving up in this ranking heading into next week's show. But for the Riels, a team that hasn't even been playing their best hockey as of yet, and are really showcasing some good things here early on. As for the Charleswood Hawks, coming in at number 3 on the power rankings, they too had a battle in their first game, winning in overtime against the St. James Junior Canucks, and then they also best the Fort Garry Twins in an OT win last Sunday as well. Hawks, so far, most shots per game out of any team. Their penalty kill is at 100%. Still got to get the power play going, but this is a team that's still so deep, so skilled heading into this season. For the Regular Express and the Fort Garry Twins, they'd be higher up on this list if they ended up winning 2 games. For the Fort Garry Twins, feeling like Alex Pauls is going to be a huge story for them this season. He stole that game against St. Vital, in my opinion, last Thursday night to open up the season, and, giving his team a solid chance to win again against the Hawks in their past matchup. I believe it was Pauls who ended up getting the start. He did, and faced 43 shots against. A reason why they're below the Regular Express, I feel like the Railers, just their first few games, even though they dropped their first one against the St. Boniface Riels, it was a very back and forth game, and it could have been anyone's game, to be honest with you. St. Boniface just getting, the better bounces in the end. But as for the Railers, they go out with a rookie goaltender against the Stonewall Jets and put up 8 against that team, who ended up starting off the season with a 6-0 shutout win over the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. So, yeah, I feel like the Railers, their game a bit more impressive through the first 2 games compared to the Fort Garry Twins. Jets, Raiders, Canucks in the 6, 7, and 8 spots. Jets and Raiders both going 1-1 to start off the season. I thought that, for Stonewall, they showcased some really good things and have proven that they can hang in with contenders in this league, like the Transcone Railer Express. As for the Raiders, tough first loss to start things off against the Jets last Thursday. And then they bounced back with a huge 6-0 win over the Twisters to, of course, get their first win of the season last Sunday. Reason why those 2 teams are over the Canucks, Vicks, and Twisters heading into this week was because, well, those were the 3 winless teams heading into action. I thought that for the Canucks, in their game against the St. Boniface Riels last week on Sunday, they showcase some good things, but still a very young team compared to recent years for St. James, a team that you could expect for them to continue to build on some good habits as the season goes along. And as for the Pembina Valley Twisters, ranking them at the very last place at 10th, just because, 2 goals for 9 goals against to start off the opening weekend, whereas for the St. Vital Junior Victorias, their 4 goals against average was just a bit better than the Twisters. And of course, they also earned a point through the first game of the season. Didn't earn a point in the first game of the season. There was a 2-1 victory for Fort Garry to start things off. But yeah, those are how the power rankings look, brought to you by Movement Fitness and Performance. We'll have updated power rankings for you in next week's episode, in episode 6. Once we do see what transpires this upcoming weekend, as we take a look at the standings heading in, St. Boniface, another 3-0 start for them. They started off 3-0 last season, en route to, of course, winning the championship by the end of it. Looking for a higher seed this season. We'll see if they can end up staying near the top or at the top of the standings this year. 3 undefeated teams heading into this weekend, as River East and Charleswood both at 2-0. The only winless teams heading into this weekend, well, it's the St. James Junior Canucks and the Pembina Valley Twisters, as we can see there. As for opening week, as we take a look at the scores again, 3 OT matchups, some close games in there, really only a few blowouts. The Raiders involved in both of those, losing 6-0 and then bouncing back with a 6-0 win. Pretty incredible, to be honest with you, to see that, just the polar opposites in their scores from game to game in their first 2 to start off this year. And as for the points leaders, lots of Jets and lots of, mostly Jets on the player rankings here, as Brzezinski leading the way with 6 points right now, but right behind him is players like Bateman, Ostorino, who ends up being the only rookie to appear on this list. He's had himself a phenomenal start in St. Vital this season. We take a look at the goaltenders. Mark Salmon and Owen Larocque both at 2-0. Salmon, an impressive opening weekend for him with a .932 save percentage and a 2-0 record. And also for River East, we talk about their goaltending. Keaton Wallishen, ends up, of course, getting to win his opening weekend. And then Kyle Bielman. Is Kyle Bielman a former Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy Buffalo? And he's played some time in junior hockey before. Ends up in River East this season, and very impressive numbers to start things off in that victory against St. Vital, with a stunning .941 save percentage as well in that game. As those are the stats, the top 5 list, I guess for the players, more of a top 8, since there is quite a lot of players tied at 4 points right now. But if you want to check out the full stats, full schedules, scores, whatever else, check out mmjhl.ca today to find out more. President Kerry Lyons ended up having an article written by Scott Taylor on him and the league heading into this season. Great article. Check it out at the Winnipeg Sun. I'll try to link it in the description of this episode, but you'll be able to find this on the MMJHL's website as well. And to view the article, you'll just have to press click here, as you can see here on the screen. As we take a look at the upcoming weekend of action here in the MMJHL, St. James looking for their first win of the season, going up against a team that arguably has one of the best goaltenders in the league this year in Alex Paul's, a player that can steal games. Going to be interested to see if he gets the start or if Scott Wong decides to go with someone else. But yeah, I expect that game to be chippy, to get physical. Ryan Dick and his St. James Junior Canucks, the way he coaches this team, he gets them to play hard, playing with a bit of an edge, and yeah, it's going to be fun to see how things transpire here tonight, as that game will be played at App McDonald Arena. The River East Royal Knights taking on the Charleswood Hawks. A very interesting matchup, as this is a battle of early season undefeateds. Now, flashing back to last year, River East started off the season as one of the top teams in the league, but fizzled out pretty much from early in the season and never were really able to recover. We're kind of out of the playoff race as the year ended up picking up. But this is a huge test for them tonight. Charleswood has been a consistent Final Four team in the postseason, and for River East, with the team that's trying to prove, I think, a lot of people wrong this year, if you're able to come away with a win in this game, that's going to do wonders for your morale. And then you start to truly believe that you can beat anyone in this league. Pembina Valley and Transcona, they're going to be going at 8:30 p.m. Both the St. James and River East games are starting at 7:30, but this one going at 8:30 p.m. I believe there's a high school game going on before it. Bentley Brant will be on your call for that one on our Uscreen network. And yeah, for Pembina Valley, when are things going to start to turn here for this team? Of course, last year, under 10 points in the regular season standings. They had only 3 wins, not a single win at home. So does that finally change tonight? Do we see our first win for the Pembina Valley Twisters, not only for the season, but in Morris in well over a year? Should be interesting to see, as Transcona, the Regular Express, they're going to be coming in hungry to take advantage of what they may think is one of the lesser teams in the league here, but got to be careful with that. If you come ready to play, you give your chance to win in any type of game, and we'll see if Pembina Valley can maybe catch the Railers off guard tonight with, maybe their expectations being that they go in and roll the Twisters. Maybe the Twisters can use some psychology to their advantage here tonight. But quadruple header coming up on Sunday in the league. We'll have Transcona and St. Vital for you, as well as the St. Boniface Riels and Pembina Valley Twisters. Most interesting game coming up on that Sunday afternoon. I'm very intrigued about the Regular Express and Victoria's matchup, but also intrigued about the Raiders Junior Hockey Club matchup going up against the Charleswood Hawks. Charleswood could have a chance to come into this game 3-0, but if both teams come in, off of losses, as the Raiders dropped a tough one yesterday against the St. Vital Junior Victorias, maybe the urgency ends up going up in that one coming up on Sunday between these two teams, as they'll be looking to get back in the win column if Charleswood comes in with a loss. But I think for the Charleswood Hawks, they have a great chance to head into the weekend with a 3-0 record if they play to their best abilities against who should be a tough River East Royal Knights team coming up on this Friday evening. But yeah, very interested to see how the Raiders bounce back coming up this Sunday against a very good Charleswood Hawks team. And of course, all season long, you're going to be able to watch MMJHL game day action on our Uscreen service on gshowproductions.uscreen.io, and it's actually not 20 games per month, it's down to 15 games per month that you'll be getting for the price of $39.99 if you subscribe monthly. You can also subscribe yearly to our annual package, or if you just want to check out a game here and there, you could just pay the $7 and then you get those you get a single game to be able to watch, and it kind of varies in terms of, well, you may want to buy some more games. Maybe that runs the price up a bit for you. The monthly package could be the way to go for you, as you'll get more value within that. About 15 games minimum per month here in the league, for $24.99. Probably your best value, or sorry, for $39.99. Still, probably your best value, best bang for your buck. Be sure to check out all our pricing packages, our pricing options on our Uscreen service today. As we're going to send it to our promo screen, and then we'll be back here for some final words on this edition of the MMJHL podcast. Well, you made it to the end of this edition of the MMJHL podcast for Ep.5 in Season 3. I've been your host, Graeme, the G Show Forsyth. Special thanks to everyone that tuned into this one today, as well as a special thanks to our sponsors in Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Elite Prospects, Terraco Goaltenders, and Movement Fitness and Performance for sponsoring another edition of the show. We'll be back next week. I'm thinking of moving this show to Thursdays, but it may be back on Tuesday. Reason for that, the more I'm thinking about it, feeling like there's just more context for us to talk to on a Thursday compared to a Tuesday as we get closer and closer to the start of the week happening, right? And next week, it's going to be a Thursday night doubleheader. Again, we'll have both those matchups on our Uscreen service. But as for this week coming up, there's going to be, of course, as we take a look at it, a triple header tonight and a quadruple header coming up on Sunday afternoon. Be sure to check out all the action on mmjhl.ca. You'll be able to watch the games, get directly to those links that will be broadcasting through to be able to watch MMJHL Game Day, our live streams there. But yeah, as for G Show Productions, myself, our side of things, our team is going to be at the Hockey for All Center, also known as the Iceplex, tonight for an MFHL Game Day matchup. Be sure to tune into that one if you are interested in checking out MFHL hockey on our network. But for the MMJHL, Bentley Brandt and his Prairie Sports Network team is going to have the coverage between the Transcone Railer Express and the Pembina Valley Twisters, as Bentley's back in the old Saddle and Mars multiplex for the first time this season, calling games. Wishing him the best of luck, and wishing the Twisters the best of luck tonight, as well as they search for their first home win in over a season, as they went winless at home last year. As for next week, though, details will be available on our website at gshow.ca. Coming up probably on Thanksgiving Monday, we'll drop the full schedule for the upcoming week. We start off with the Manitoba Hockey Podcast coming up on Thanksgiving Monday for our podcast coverage coming up next week. We'll have a doubleheader of MMJHL Game Day content for you on Thanksgiving Sunday as well. Hope you tune into our stream, MMJHL fans. It should be a lot of fun, or as I should say, not just one stream, but two streams, as we'll have a doubleheader for you of MMJHL Game Day content. Until then, it's been your host, Graeme, the G Show Forsyth, peacing out and waving so long on this Friday afternoon, as our Fun Friday continues next with a new edition of the MFHL podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.